All right, so the Billy Mitchell situation is getting rather interesting. So like technically we kind of already know what's up. aka Karl Jobst has lost the lawsuit against Billy Mitchell, and the internet has been very interesting the past couple of days. And apparently, like, there's a new internet versus video that talks about the supposed like Discord leaks, which I'm very interested in finding out. But we're gonna watch this video first, so that way we can get a catch up on everything.
YouTuber Karl Jobst lost a defamation lawsuit against Billy Mitchell, an infamous figure in gaming history who has long been accused of cheating. For people following this lawsuit casually or passively, many believed this was over the cheating accusations and thought that this would be an easy dunk for Karl. However, once the details of the case concluded,
everyone was under the impression that it was about like the whole like cheating scandal, and like Karl definitely benefited from people assuming that.
And a lot more eyeballs started looking into it, it had nothing to do with what the masses thought that it did. Welcome to the internet versus Karl Jobst and Billy Mitchell's lawsuit. To start, we'll rewind to just a day before the case, when Karl tweets out, "Win or lose tomorrow, I am proud that I never backed down and never allowed a bully to control my free expression."
Oh, Karl. You know, under normal circumstances, I would agree with that principle full-heartedly. But ladies and gentlemen, as we'll soon find out, that wasn't the case necessarily.
The amount of support I have had over the past 4 years has been tremendous, and not only have you helped me to defend myself in the best way possible, but you've also made this process much easier on my family, for which I will forever be grateful. Whatever happens, we will continue moving forward, and no fear of tyrants will ever stop me to doing what I believe to be right. Here's hoping tomorrow brings good news. And then a damaged sector replies with this poll, which I think accurately represents how most of the internet felt that this case was going to end up, where he asked who was going to win, and with nearly 4,000 votes, Karl Jobst came out with 93%. He then tweeted out a link to the live stream which the decision was held on, and then shortly after the decision was announced, Karl Jobst tweeted out,
that was man, the balls. He felt like he was really gonna win that, because like if there was even a hint that he thought he was going to lose, I mean, at least for me personally, I definitely would not have like published the link to the court hearing. God no, I would have fucking buried that shit. Because as soon as he shared the link, which I like, people are crafty. I feel like they would have gotten it somehow, some way, you know. But it's like the fact that he provided it for so many people shows you that like he thought he was untouchable. Like he thought he was gonna get away with it. And like, let's be honest, we all thought he would, because we were under a false pretense of what the lawsuit was actually about. And it really it shows I like Karl as like a content creator. I don't know the guy personally, right? I don't know him personally, so I can't speak to him as like an actual like, oh yeah, this is how like conversations go with him. But like he always like he portrayed himself as like as an honest dude who's like, you know, who likes to root out misinformation. And like it's not that he necessarily lied, but like he definitely omitted information, so that way it just made him look way more sympathetic than what he really like should have been, you know. I mean, granted, I don't know if necessarily so that like this is the weird thing, I don't know how many people would have supported him if they knew like the full extent of the lawsuit, because there were a couple people who decided to support him financially. Like there was a whole like Kickstarter and everything. Like he had his fans financially help him throughout all this. And like, if that's what you want to do, you know, more power to you. But I feel like a lot less people would have been so generous with their money if they had known the full scope of everything.
I lost. The judge found Billy to be a credible witness and believed his entire testimony. From that point on, unfortunately, there was really nothing that could have saved me. I will now obviously consider my options. I know many of you will be upset with this, and I am sorry for that. Thank you again for all the support I have received, and I will endeavor to work as hard as I can to repay all that you are owed. However, this post then got community noted, where it says, Jobst was unable to defend at least 5 separate claims he made in his videos about Billy Mitchell. The legal challenge primarily contested videos which implied Mitchell's prior behavior and legal actions may have contributed to the self-ending of YouTuber Apollo Legend. And it attaches a link to the court documents for the District Court of Queensland with the judgment and such. Repsion replies, maybe don't imply somebody caused somebody else to end themselves. Seems like you
Yeah, really hard to do there, you know. It's incredibly hard not to do.
Put yourself in this situation. Davy Braid says, I'm just now learning that the lawsuit was about Apollo. This is crazy. Craig replies, the judge made it a point to draw attention to your arrogance throughout the trial, and now you're phrasing things as if the judge believed lies told by Mitchell and that he was out to get you. You defamed the guy and made a false claim, and you lost. It's that simple. Daco quote tweets Karl Jobst with this screenshot in the caption, he's already trying to get that money back, and it shows a comment that Karl Jobst uploaded on his most recent upload, which is now deleted, where he said, today, the judge sided with Billy Mitchell and I lost my defamation lawsuit. I will explain what happened in a video shortly and explain everything. Hopefully this will not affect this channel.
Play me a fucking small violin.
This game now with my links and get a massive free bonus pack including vehicles, boosters, and more on PC and consoles.
Man. Okay, that's clearly a bait sympathy post there. Come on, man. I understand you gotta post a link to whatever like you're being sponsored by, but like, come on, man. Come on. By the way, we totally lost this. Which is fine by me. I'm not really paying attention much to the game. I just need something on in the background while we watch this. But yeah.
And then links to the sponsorship. Gamma quote tweets Karl Jobst by saying, this is so bad. Karl Jobst probably took the largest L on YouTube in a while and is owning it. He's not being too straightforward about the situation though. This is such an awful display. Obfuscating the situation, misleading his audience, all that bravado on his videos too. Logan replies, I understand why he didn't talk about it specifically. Would be hard to without farther defaming. But he should have at least given more context that there was things he couldn't talk about that were more important. And Gamma replies, in a comment he says, this isn't worth going to court over, lol. This indirectly implies that he wanted to go to court for the cheating claims, at least per my inference. Then attaches a screenshot from the court documents, which say that on June 6, 2021, Mr. Jobst posted a comment on his YouTube channel. In an apparent response to a comment asking if the mention of Apollo Legends self-ending had been cut from the video, Mr. Jobst said, yes, I removed it. Not because I don't believe anything that was said, but because Billy wants to sue me for it.
Dude. You see, that's where he screws himself over, because he says, not that I don't believe that he is responsible. But it's like, come on, man. Come on. You're really going to do that? You see that? You saying that I took it down not because I don't believe it, but because I'm being threatened. Like, come on, man. You had to pull that? You had to, man. You could have gone about this so much better, but no, you refused to do so because you're arrogant.
And that particular segment isn't worth going to court over. And then a day later on June 7th, Mr. Mitchell's Australian solicitors sent a concerns notice to Mr. Jobst about the original video, and Mr. Jobst's reaction was to post this tweet. Billy Mitchell's lawyer has contacted me. This is very exciting, lol. We go to war soon. This will be an amazing experience. Can't wait to share it with you all. And then it continues saying that on June 13th, Apollo Legend's brother, Jesse, sent Mr. Jobst an email responding to his email on June 4th, and Jesse said that from what he could tell, Apollo Legend had not paid Mr. Mitchell any money. Consequently, on the same day, Mr. Jobst again edited the video to remove the following words. Those words being, he was forced to remove all his videos about Mitchell's cheating and paid him a large sum of money. This left him deeply in debt.
You see, and like this is where like I'm confused. So, because like, okay, if Karl is under the assumption all of this happened, right? Did he actually talk to Apollo when everything was going down? Or is he just making an assumption? Because everything I've seen shows that he's been making an assumption about the whole situation, and that maybe he didn't. I think he didn't even talk to Apollo about everything. That's what I think happened. I think he like, not that he refused to talk to Apollo, but like I think him and Apollo weren't able to like have communication at the time because, you know, X, Y, and Z, whatever. And he just like, instead of like actually doing research, he just made a bunch of assumptions, made a video about those assumptions, and essentially kind of did with like what T channels do, you know, like the gossip T channels and everything. But like, my God, dude. Like Karl, again, to emphasize, I like his content. This is what sucks about it. I like his content, but he like severely screwed himself here. Cause I think this all stems from like, a gut reaction to the fact that like his colleague and friend passed away. And I think he was just looking for someone to blame.
Which required him to find, and then the screenshot is cut off. And then Logan replies, yeah, it seems like he knew he fucked up and wanted to shift the focus of the case. Adzi quote tweets Karl Jobst and says, I'm a fan of Karl, but holy shit, he really misrepresented what this lawsuit was about this whole time. If you only watched his coverage of the situation, you'd be left believing it was about the Billy Mitchell cheating allegations. It wasn't. It was about Apollo Legends self-ending. I really do like Karl, but this was so dishonest. I don't know that he can be trusted with serious matters anymore. I think the worst part about this whole thing is that if he was honest about what this lawsuit was, I probably still would have been on his side. Sure, it's not as cut and dry, but I consider the alleged defamatory statements to be opinion and speculation. Willie Mac Show also quote tweets Karl saying that he didn't know this was what the thing was for, continuing like, bruh, what did you think would happen? Out of all the videos Karl posted on Billy, I never knew this. Kassane Territory tweets out, Karl Jobst is a complete and total dipshit who basically lied about what the defamation case was about. Straight up, it didn't tell us that he accused Billy Mitchell of being the reason Apollo Legend ended himself when we know in extreme detail why Apollo did that. Replying here to make it extremely clear that I do not actually think Dark Viper AU and Easyscape are guilty of ending Apollo Legend. My point is that we know exactly who Apollo said ended him because of his note/video, and Billy wasn't the guy named.
Yeah, usually you know, their last thoughts, you know, the last testament, their last will on this planet, you know, they usually make it pretty cut and dry why they do certain things. And it, like, especially given how serious the subject matter is, it's very sickening that listen, Billy Mitchell is many things, most notoriously an asshole, but to blame him for another man's death is, especially with no concrete proof, is just, man, again, this sucks for Karl. I'm not wishing ill will on his family or nothing like that, just to be clear. But unfortunately, this is probably going to financially affect his family. And you know, I don't envy the man, that's for sure.
Arcadia replies, Billy is a piece of shit, dumbfuck, corrupt cheater, and I don't think he should have won this case. But Karl is extremely fucking incompetent and lied about this case the whole time. And Kassane says, you have boiled down my points to its bare essentials. Thank you for understanding. I'm worried that people think I'm pro Billy and all this, but I can't stand the fucking guy either. If both of them could have lost somehow, I would have preferred that. Valdish replies the original post by saying, it's just baffling that he would do this kind of stuff when all it does is give Billy credibility while destroying his own. He absolutely should have known how bad it could backfire. And Kassane says he literally couldn't help himself. Like, even with the completionist thing, Gerard was absolutely in the wrong, but he milked it for like 2 months because he absolutely can't handle not hearing the sound of his own voice. Then Drama Alert tweets out a couple more details about the case when they say,
imagine that, being in love with the sound of your own voice. Imagine that, ladies and gentlemen. Couldn't be anyone that you watch regularly, right? Couldn't be anyone that you're watching right now. No, not at all. Let's continue.
Karl Jobst forced to pay roughly 395,000 Australian dollars and legal fees and defamation case against Billy Mitchell. Madry Bread replies, "To the people who are saying you felt misled, did you follow the trial at all? He never claimed it was about Billy cheating in video games. It was always about the Apollo Legends stuff. I still think the judgment was awful and Karl shouldn't have lost, but no one misled you." TK's Mantis replies, "Bro, I followed every video Karl put out. Not once was Apollo mentioned. This take sucks, homie." And Madry Bread responds, "He literally has Billy Mitchell on screen explaining what the lawsuit is about in his own words. Every day of the trial, it was very clear what it was about." And he attaches this clip.
Okay, but time went on, and eventually, without a single source, except a now deleted post on Reddit, now deleted post, was his only source where he blamed me for taking the life of another human being and for what I did to him. And I said, that's it.
Billy Mitchell is referring to the YouTuber Apollo Legend, who tragically took his own life in December of 2020. I won't go into specifics about this particular point because it does relate to his ongoing lawsuit against me. But again, everything he just said is a lie. I didn't say what he claims that I said, and my source for what I did say was not just a deleted post on Reddit. Billy knows all of my sources because I gave them to him as part of the proceedings. And once the lawsuit is over, which should be hopefully very soon, all of the details will be made public.
What kind of person am I, even to my family, if I would allow someone to do that unanswered?
I will show you exactly the kind of person Billy Mitchell is. As part of the legal proceedings against Twin Galaxies,
You see, this is the mistake he made. The mistake he made was just like making videos like this to begin with, when in reality, what he should have been doing was just stick to the Kickstarter campaign. He should have just kept things how they were, and maybe, I don't know, maybe he could have like came out on top, but like he definitely should have like shut. Any good lawyer will tell you to shut up during stuff like this.
Text messages were made public between Billy and other people. These messages showed that in March of 2018, Billy thought that Apollo Legend had died. Of course, that didn't end up being true, but let's see how Billy reacted to this news. In his messages to Carlos Pinheiro, who was helping to defend Billy at the time, Billy says, "My wife found online, Apollo Legend is dead. No joke." To which Carlos responds, "What? Oh my God." Billy says, "If it is true, I will not shed a tear. I will try my very hardest not to smile or giggle."
That creepy reading replies, "To be fair, when you paint Billy Mitchell as a liar and a manipulator and then have him explaining why he's doing something, it kinda leads to a grain of salt being taken. I definitely feel like more could have been done on his part to explain what this was about." Karl then addresses a lot of this backlash when he tweets out, "There are a lot of lies being spread that I falsely claimed Billy sued me because I said he cheated. I never claimed this. I only claimed it was relevant as part of my defense. I didn't openly discuss certain details for obvious reasons, but I was never trying to hide why I was being sued." He then attaches the link to the video that we just looked at. "In this video, I fully allow Billy to explain why he's suing me, and I specifically state that I chose not to go into too much detail because it related to the ongoing lawsuit. Furthermore, I never asked for money when Billy originally sued me. It was only after he sent me a second lawsuit and a threat of a third lawsuit, which were completely unrelated, that I needed to crowdfund. My total legal costs are well over $600,000, so any money I received went to my lawyers. I did not intentionally try to deceive anyone or trick anyone just to defraud them or scam them out of money. But the criticism that I should have been more transparent is valid, and I'm sorry. Truthfully, I didn't want to repeat or mention any claims regarding Apollo Legend because it may have jeopardized my defense. I never intentionally lied regarding Apollo Legend either. I relied on incorrect information from multiple sources. I retracted the statements once I confirmed
I never lied. I never lied. I just relied on multiple incorrect sources.
was inaccurate, but apparently it was not sufficient. At some point, of course, I will produce a video discussing everything, and I still believe the decision today was not the correct one. Andy Worski replies, I wouldn't say people are lying. You were not clear about what you were being sued for. From all the videos I have watched over the years and rewatched today, it seemed like you were being sued for bringing up the cheating. About 99% of the videos are about the cheating, and the Apollo stuff was a quick aside that wasn't even explained. This isn't a case of people lying, but you were not being clear about what the case was actually about. Cool Hand James replies to Karl by saying, I never lied. I should have been more transparent. Two sentences when said together suggest dishonesty. Damaged Sector replies to Karl by saying, the problem is the word cheating or cheater was mentioned in pretty much every video on your funding page. I checked the video and it was mentioned Apollo was part of the lawsuit, but I never saw that video and many other people didn't as well, or failed to pick up on a point that was basically otherwise not mentioned elsewhere. Cheating was also brought up in that video.
I never lied. I just recanted incorrect sources that resulted in me slandering Billy. Yeah. I never technically lied.
Also, people knew there were other lawsuits he threatened but didn't follow through with. How do you expect so many people to know one of them wasn't the Apollo claims? I get it's your life and you know all these details, but it's very difficult for people not related / affected by this case to know this. Many big YouTubers who cover this kind of stuff didn't even know everything and thought it was about cheating as well. It's understandable why so many people thought this lawsuit was about cheating and why many were confused when they heard that you lost. So while you didn't lie, the whole thing about not wanting to generally talk about / mention the Apollo claims is what caused people to feel misled, even if unintentionally. Nicholas Diorio replies to Karl Jobst by saying, I don't think there was any malicious intent here on your part. You seem genuinely passionate about the things you covered on your channel, and you've been one of the best at exposing cheaters for years. It really fucking sucks how this all went down, as I really don't believe you intentionally set out to defame Billy. It's really unfortunate that the Apollo misinformation will be a costly black mark on your otherwise stellar content creation career, but it's also a warning to guys like me not to get carried away. On your channel, you have made tons of videos exposing Billy above board for lies that are better researched and verifiable. I don't personally see what incentive you'd have to just make an out-of-character lie with the intent to harm him, especially pre-lawsuit. Ultimately though, intent aside, this was your mistake and it's up to you to accept the consequences with grace or go in a different direction. As for the disclosure, I think a lot of people lost track of what your lawsuit was mainly focused on due to the nature of the content you make being obviously more gaming-centric. It felt odd at times with how much you could seemingly disclose and discuss openly on video. It didn't help that the other lawsuit that was gaming record centric was also going on simultaneously for much of the coverage. I don't think
Yeah, well, for one, he should very clearly should have been more transparent, but I think it's just people got lost in the weeds on what was going down, because I wasn't following this case. I knew he was being sued, but I was like, I hope it goes well for him. That was basically the extent of how I saw the situation. I was like, oh, a guy's being sued by Billy Mitchell, that sucks,
think you set out to mislead, but even I lost track over time as to what exactly you were doing. Anyways, I hope you're well. Bud Monkey replies to Nick by saying, if he was lying about this, what about all the stuff with the completionist? How much of that was he lying about, since wasn't he the one that said a source came to him with the info on him? And Nick replies, I like the implication that you're like a goldfish and completely unable to engage with any of this content with critical thinking. Even now, as you become more skeptical, you're asking other people about this instead of just going to research it. Mo replies to Nick by saying, this is mostly a really good post. The issue is the Apollo stuff was a massive deal in the speedrunning community, and everybody knew the people who were named. It's just genuinely hard for people who knew the ins and outs to accept he really didn't know with his proximity to it. And Nick replies, the issue is the people he named didn't end him either. And Mo says, I agree, but Karl framed the narrative disingenuously, and that's where he got torched. Despite having full knowledge of the Apollo stuff, trying to say he didn't know isn't gonna fly when he was on the ground with the story from when Apollo was alive. And Nick replies, what is full knowledge defined as here? Read a self-ending note. He spoke to Apollo's family before editing out his section. I think that's the reasonable bar for full knowledge. You act like it's outrageous to be informed about the settlement and how a lawsuit could have affected this man's final days. Karl was wrong, and he showcased poor journalism, but nothing here implicates him, in my opinion, with genuine malice and intent to harm Billy.
I don't know, it's hard. I think it definitely can be said that Karl was shooting from the hip, and that he was probably pretty, at the time of making that video, probably really angry still and still grieving the loss of Apollo. Because again, even if they aren't the closest of friends, if you know someone or is aware of someone in your community, that death can affect you, and death affects people in different ways. Again, this is not me justifying what was done. But I could see how this could have happened. How do you think he will respond? I don't know. I'm really interested to see how Karl will respond to all of this. I really am. Um, God, I hope he has a lawyer actually look over what he is about to say in his video, because I showcased this earlier in the morning stream today, but apparently he just does not like lawyers going over his statements, which I feel like if lawyers were present throughout this entire thing, Karl would, I feel like Billy still would have tried to sue him, but Karl would have had better grounds to stand on and not have to pay him like the equivalent of like over $200,000. Like, I get it, he's like a semi-successful YouTuber, right? But like that's still like a massive fucking amount of money, and like that's on top of like the legal fees that he has to pay for now. So like I'm really feeling for this guy and his family. That being said, I know people were talking about, oh well, he can like appeal the decision, and I don't know. I've given how angry Billy is, I feel like he is gonna have like Karl pay the full amount, because like I know during the whole thing with him and Apollo, apparently he didn't make Apollo pay him anything. It was just like he won the lawsuit and that was it. But it's I just Karl should have been way smarter about this whole thing. Wait, thought the amount was nearly $500,000. No. It was 300,000, around 300,000 in Australian dollars, but like converted to like US dollars, it's around like around 200,000, a little over that.
Knowingly with false statements. That's the distinction I'm making. Then after the verdict, Billy Mitchell tweets out, "Nothing like the smell of victory in the evening air," and Billy Mitchell always has a plan. And PPP replies, "You are the king of gaming. Never let these bastards get you down. Huge W, king. All hail. Suffer, Jobst." And finally, "Thank you to everyone who supported me. I am grateful." John Campbell tweets out, "Karl Jobst lost because he called Billy a murderer with no evidence. The cheating was background context, and then tried to mislead everyone about what the case was about. You fucked up, Karl Jobst, big time," and attaches this minute-long clip of the judge giving his verdict.
"To be clear, I was not required to decide, nor did I decide, whether Mr. Mitchell had in fact cheated in gaining any of his world record scores. Mr. Jobst did not attempt to prove that that finding by Twin Galaxies was correct. Notwithstanding these findings, I have concluded that the defamatory imputations made by Mr. Jobst that are the subject of Mr. Mitchell's claim have caused substantial additional damage to Mr. Mitchell's reputation and have caused him considerable additional distress. Therefore, Mr. Jobst is liable to pay damages to Mr. Mitchell for those defamatory imputations. I shall come shortly to the amount of those damages."
Poorly Aged Things tweets out a picture of a Karl Jobst video, the one with the title "Cheater Billy Mitchell Just Keeps Losing." And
the end is near. Oh no. Karl's gonna be the butt of a joke for at least
the thumbnail saying "The end is near." And Jacob replies, "On God, if I posted shitting on a guy for 5 years and then lost my lawsuit against him, you'd never see my face on the internet again." Obscure Reference quote tweets this and says, "I hate to spread hate, but I'm glad people are going to start seeing Karl Jobst for the grifter that he's been for many years now." And William replies, "What else has he done to make him a grifter? I genuinely don't know. But yeah, he always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I think it's the way he talks. I do like some of his content though." And Obscure replies, "My main other thing was how him and Muda handled the entire completionist controversy. Just poor handling all around, and they got to walk away while saying a lot of stupid shit. Karl specifically continues to make videos well after it resolved." And Captain Comes replies, "Can you explain what the problem was with the coverage? It always felt overly harsh from them and like they were accusing him of stealing the money when what he actually did was simply not donate it right away." But
dude, he did. What do you mean? They did steal the money. What the fuck? Muda, like, say what you want about Karl, but like Muda was able to prove everything on his end, that the funds were mismanaged and that they just like come on, man. Come on. I will say that this is irritating that like now that like the Billy Mitchell stuff has like all been said and done, now magically like everything I mean I get why But it's like also too like if you use your fucking brain, you'll understand that like the completionist stuff, the completionist stuff was still bad. Okay, the completionist is not magically innocent now. Like, god damn it, Karl. This is why you fucking dot your I's and cross your fucking T's, because now as soon as you, even if I'm not even gonna say that like Karl purposefully lied. I don't think he did. I think he was just shooting from the hip. He was very passionate about what happened, obviously. And, you know, he got too heated for him. But like, come on, man. Like, you have to make sure, especially when you're doing this type of stuff, okay? Like me being like a small commentary like shit posting channel, like even I have to a certain degree have to make sure what I say is like okay. Right? I can't just like claim that like person A is like an assaulter without like showing that there's at least like a claim of it, you know? Like, come on. Like, it's so fucking dumb.
Could be wrong. And Obscure replies, like you said, they were overly harsh on him. Additionally, they accused him of breaking the law despite neither being Americans. And when they got told it was common for charities to withhold the money so they can make a larger contribution with more control, they disregarded that thought. Additionally, Karl mentioned that it was weird to donate a body. So Gerard brought up why, and when he did, Karl said that he never mentioned it and was confused why Gerard mentioned it. Karl and Muda made about 9 videos total, some of which were over an hour long. They covered it way too much with next to no response from Gerard. And Osu replies, making a lot of videos about it isn't a bad thing. Gerard and his family were at fault. Wavy Websurf tweets out, yeah,
I mean, goddamn, I know I fucking milked that situation for all it was worth. I know I did. I can't fucking blame the guy.
Shit week, but at least you're not Karl Jobst. And so we're still looking for a response from Karl. I'm sure he will have a lot to say when he finally posts an update video. He ended up putting out an unrelated video on his channel, which just got a bunch of backlash because it wasn't directly related to the case, and now he has taken that down. However, when we get an update, we'll let you guys know. Shout out to Kiko, our first internet representative. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll see you next episode.
Hell fucking yeah. So there's that video, and then we also have another video from Internet Versus that just released today. Internet Versus Karl Jobst leaked Discord messages. So this is going to be interesting. Very, very interesting. Let me get this in picture mode so that way you guys, lovely folks at home, can see this. Okay, there we go. All right, let's let Connor do his thing.
Part 1 of this series, we went over the initial reactions to Karl Jobst losing his lawsuit to Billy Mitchell. A lot of people were upset and feeling that Karl had misled them, and this led him to put out a couple statements online. However, over the last couple days, Karl has been going into his Discord and talking about the case. He's gone over the judge ruling, calling the judge,
which is like the best thing to do, by the way. Right after you lose like the biggest like public facing lawsuit of your life, yeah, go in Discord and fucking rant about it publicly to people in your public server, or sorry, maybe not public server, paid server, but still there are gonna be people there that are gonna screenshot it, of course. Like, come on, man. Like, if you're gonna like have like, if you're gonna vent, at least vent to people in like DMs. Like, come on. And then I wonder if he's like surprised that people like, did he start ranting knowing people were going to screenshot his responses to stuff? Or do you think like it was genuinely that people weren't going to like screenshot? You're in his Discord server, Mr. Gamer? Oh my God. Did you see it like happen real time? Did you watch like the fucking Discord like scroll? Oh my God, that would have been so, I would have laughed. I would have straight up laughed if I saw it happened. I'm glad I don't pay for Discords. I'm really glad. Okay. Speaking of Discords, guys, if you want to become aware of when I upload videos or when I'm going live, join the Nerdy Live Discord server, because, you know, we're a pretty awesome bunch. You know, it's a chill server. You know, there's no problems caused there usually. And I think y'all would have a lot of fun if you gave the server a chance.
Ridiculous and biased. He said his lawyers were careless and didn't value his opinion, while also simultaneously saying F the lawyers, he'll say what he wants, as well as old messages resurfacing from about a month ago where he ran the court transcripts through ChatGPT, and the AI confirmed that he had the win locked down. Welcome to the Internet versus
Karl. Karl, did you not learn anything from from Mama Max, Karl? You can't. Dude, you can't expect like ChatGPT to be the perfect legal expert. What the fuck, man? His server is free to join. Gotcha. Okay.
Jobst lawsuits fallout. It starts off with Karl making an announcement that he will be making a response video when he tweets out, "I will be releasing a video next weekend outlining everything in detail. Thanks for everyone who has patience until then. I am not bitter for any negative comments or videos about me until then. I have been very critical of people in the past. It would be extremely hypocritical of me to feel like I should be treated any differently. I dish out a lot. I should be able to."
Okay, well, you know what? I think that's actually like a fair response to everything. Like if he was crying about the responses he was like receiving, then that would be a different story. But like, hey, he's aware of the game. I'm glad he's acknowledging that at the very least. I am such a terrible shot, by the way. Oh, killed the thing. There we go. Okay, guys. So here's the thing. Anyway, let's continue.
To take it back. I am confident I will be able to ease a lot of concern or perhaps some incorrect narratives with my response. I hope you
Mama
watch
Max
it.
be
And Zeddy
damned,
replies,
right? Yeah.
"Karl, I've been here since the beginning and I will say the transition to almost all drama content, although very profitable, is so much worse than your speedrunning content. I hope you can focus more on that going forward, especially in the world of Doom." And Karl replies, "As long as people are willing to hear out my side of the story and they continue to watch my videos, I will 100% do that." Darkside Flow replies, "You had several years to tell your side of the story, which ended up being complete bullshit." Black replies to Karl's original post by saying, "No more Billy Mitchell videos after this, please. Focus on speedrunning content." And Karl replies, "You might be right." And Perk Angel replies, "Not like you can afford another lawsuit, my friend." Damaged Sector replies to Karl by saying, "I'm looking forward to this video and hope you are not only thorough, but actually acknowledge not just that people feel misled, but how/why. That would go a long way. I had a lot of respect for your content and I'm willing to hear you out and give some, but not all of that back." Gan Anim replies, "Prediction, a lot of gaslighting. He will show the one time he did briefly talk about the nature of the case in a video from a while ago and use it to claim that he never tried to mislead. Will justify his excessive Billy Mitchell videos by saying that's the point of his channel. Will apologize to you for saying that while he understands why you might have felt misled, it was never his intention and it was a failure of communication on his part. Will say he will take a few months off from uploading to process everything." Overspark replies to Karl's post by saying, "Gotta be honest, a lot of these negative comments don't feel genuine to me. I'm sure some are, but most of the interactions have been with Billy Mitchell D-writers who would have torn you apart no matter what. Either way, looking forward to the likely very long video." Then Omnipotent posts on the YouTube drama subreddit, Karl Jobst responds to court loss, slams the judge's ruling and explains his plan to appeal, and attaches DMs that Karl was sending to his public Discord, where it starts off with a user saying, "Hate Billy, sure, but I don't think it's exactly fair to attack the judge, as he seemed like he did try to rule fairly in the context of."
Okay, well at least he's not okay. I'm glad he's not like going at the judge. I say that, but you know, this is still early on. Really hope Karl won't gaslight any of us.
Of the
Who
law.
knows? Who knows?
Unfortunately, Billy's team just played the game better. I don't want this comment to be misconstrued as Billy's support,
He played
but I've
the
seen a
game
lot of
better. Yeah, he played the game better. He didn't make. I'm not gonna. He didn't make fucking 50 videos on the person he was in a lawsuit with. Just like digging the hole deeper and deeper. He didn't make claims like, well, I still believe the defamatory statement. You know, I was told I can't make it. You know, like come on, man. I forget how old Karl is. I think Karl's in his 30s. But it's like he should know better, you know?
chatter against the judge on various places, not as much here, and I feel like that misses the mark. And Karl replies, "Oh, the judge was ridiculous in his judgment. You'd have to look at previous cases with similar awards. They all have the doctor's testimony."
The judge was ridiculous. The judge had it out for me. Come on, man. It's always the judge had it out for me when it's not ruled in your favor. Come on. Okay, if anything, the judge should have been on your side, okay? You're a fellow Aussie, right? So, come on. Do you think he really wanted a dirty American to win? Actually, you know, I bet you if Billy had lost, he would have been like, the courts were unfair to me because I was American, whereas this guy was Australian. I could have totally seen that going the other way. But, you know.
testimonies backing up the health harm, etc., or specialists confirmed XYZ.
Didn't Karl
Billy
fire his first legal team? I don't know if he did, but if that did happen, if that happened, I mean, come on. His first legal team probably told him to shut up about the situation.
Said he was hurt. That is absolutely not sufficient for an award this high, and there was clear bias. He unnecessarily attacked me many times for things that had nothing to do with the complaint. And the user replies, I haven't read through his other cases, just the doc. And Karl says, there was a similar award last year, but the guy had multiple doctor testimonies and diagnosed multiple health issues due to the statements, etc. And he'd been seeing doctors for years about it. It is ridiculous to just go and say you were hurt without any expert testimony and get this kind of judgment. It had nothing to do with reality other than the judge wanted to make an example out of me, which is not a justifiable reason. Friendly Local replies to the post by saying, got to lose that second $1 million. And Omnipotent replies, it seems he's under the impression that the appeals process won't cost much and only takes a day. I'm not a lawyer, but I feel like there would be a lot of billable hours before that one-day hearing. And he attaches a Discord messages of a user asking, but lawyer costs will double if you appeal, right? And Karl says, no, the appeal is just like a one-day hearing. And then Important Question Text replies, holy shit, how can someone be this unaware? Appeals are expensive, and if you're lucky, it's a one-day hearing, but usually it's a multiple week sort of issue. Either he's not listening to his lawyer or his lawyer is giving him bad advice. And I'm inclined to think he's not listening. Fusion Man replies to Op by saying, Karl, this is why the judge didn't like you. I'm being attacked for stuff unrelated to the judgment. The judge literally said you are stubborn, arrogant, and unable to change your mind. That you will not change your mind even when presented contrary evidence. That's incredibly relevant. And Potential Music replies, literally proving the judge right with every statement he continues to make. Eldritch Elizabeth replies, do you understand how much of a pathetic fuckwit you have to be in order for me to consider Billy fucking Mitchell the reasonable adult in the room? And Roscoe replies, yep, this is the only way to view this. Karl very clearly purposely misled everyone with this whole court case. He absolutely deserved to lose, and as much as it pains me to say, Billy deserved to win. Captain Mills replies to OP by saying, does Karl think that the only kind of farm defamation can cause is medical? And AJ Stormchaser says, apparently, Billy had examples of him losing money from losing speaking engagements. I don't know, just move on. Stand Still for Me replied to OP by saying, one thing that made me question Karl Jobst from the start was when he started attacking Billy's lawyers. Like, brother, it's their job. Made me feel like he was a bit immature, so not surprised that this happened. And Fusion Man replies, I know I posted this to another comments of yours, but oh my god, this spells out everything. And attaches an image of some of the court documents that say, Mr. Jobst impressed as a very self-confident person and one who has strong views that he rarely, if ever, changes. He also rarely admits that he is wrong. For example, during the trial, Mr. Jobst claimed that he still considers that Mr. Mitchell is trying to ruin people's lives and that he is a scumbag and insane, words he used in the video. He confirmed that when he published the video, he considered Mr. Mitchell to be evil, although he felt that he, Mr. Jobst, had matured slightly since then and would not necessarily say he is evil anymore. He also said that he still believes that—
Come on, man. Dude, you see what I mean? Like he was basically asking to lose here. And like I feel for the guy, but come on, man. You should have known better.
the settlements between Mr. Mitchell and Apollo Legend contributed to Apollo Legend's decision to commit, although later he explained his reasoning for this view, and then posts a quote of Karl Jobst saying, I just felt like the settlements agreements harmed Apollo Legend in multiple ways that would have definitely affected him negatively, and was my opinion that definitely what, those negative impacts wouldn't have helped his decision in the end. And it continues by saying, Mr. Jobst clearly has an obsession with or a vendetta against Mr. Mitchell. Whether that vendetta is real or confected in order to boost his own reputation and viewers does not really matter. The fact is that by the time he published this video, Mr. Jobst had made very public his dislike for Mr. Mitchell, his disappointment that others had settled their disputes with Mr. Mitchell, his desire to be sued by Mr. Mitchell, and his determination not to back down if he achieved that desire. ZPKS Piano replies to OP by saying, he unnecessarily attacked me many times for things that had nothing to do with the complaints, and attaches this compilation of the
We're in a timeline where a Billy Mitchell lawsuit wasn't frivolous. Like, you realize that?
2 videos that Karl made on Billy during the lawsuits. Pauper Vita tweets out, Karl Jobst is sprigging out flamenco style in his Discord. He is now blaming his lawyers and the judge. It's not his fault. And it starts with Karl saying, they thought they were going to win easily because Billy is a liar and his case is stupid. And RoboGuy420 replies, damn, Karl's lawyers' brains were full of balls. And Karl says, they were complacent because they thought they were going to win. And
come on, dude. You see what I mean here? Like, why message people about this publicly in your public Discord server? Like, if he wanted to like rant to Muda about this, I'm sure Muda wouldn't have mind, you know. I'm sure Muda probably would have been like, well, hang on, man, hang on, you know, like probably would have told him to chill. Dude. He's doing this instead of making the video. What he should have done was like, he should have just like made like a pinned message saying like, hey, everyone who's like asking about like the lawsuit and everything, like I understand, but we seriously need to wait till like need to wait until like I make the video. Like, I don't really think he really should make a video unless like stated otherwise, really, technically. But like, you get what I mean? Like, just if you have to make the video, have the video be your final statement. Don't make statements like this in your server, man, because it just makes you look more pathetic.
Its Katz replies. Billy, meanwhile, throws everything at the wall, and Karl says, but the judge just lapped up everything Billy gave him. I even suggested to my lawyers I show those emails, and they didn't care. Like, seriously, they really didn't value my input much. It was pretty fucked. And then he replies to Nuke saying, that's
well, yeah, because you're also telling them how to do their job. You're like, it's up to you to like give and provide your lawyers all the information you possibly can, given your side of the story. And then you let them do their job, man. You can't tell them how to do it. The only thing you can do is being like, hey, okay, so like this happened. Like, basically, like it's your job to be like completely honest with like your lawyer. And I don't know, man. I'm assuming he was, but it's like clearly, like I think his lawyers might have known, given the situation, that like more than likely, like Karl had like a good chance of like losing the case. And so maybe they were just trying to, okay, well, like maybe let's try to find like the best way possible for him not to lose this.
That's people who didn't pay attention, not that much. And Karl says, this is why my response video, I will show emails from me to my lawyer when I say I want this to get as many views as possible. As I was making the video.
Jesus, man, you're going to show your emails with your lawyers? Are you insane? Karl, this is, oh my God, I feel like this is going to be really, really bad response video. Maybe that's just me being cynical, but I feel like this is going to be a recipe for goddamn disaster, man. Again, I don't wish this on him, you know, but it's like, it feels like at this point, it's really just him digging his own grave.
Bid for the retraction. And Popper continues their thread with this image of messages that Karl sent back in 2024, where he says, you know what's fucked? How good really good lawyers are. I have a new appreciation for how insane really good lawyers are. They are geniuses in a unique way. I believe my trial lawyer to be a genius. This was back in September of 2024. Billy Mitchell has been continuing to flex on Twitter since the win, when he also tweets out, bad news for my enemies. I woke up. Genius Dude 69 then posts more DMs on our YouTube drama subreddit of Karl interacting about his lawyers and titles it, fuck the lawyers I paid for with your money, and attaches DMs of Karl Jobst saying I will get sued, and a user responding, do you ever run scripts for videos like this past a lawyer, or is it not worth the expense? And Karl Jobst replied, no, I don't, because fuck lawyers and what they think. If I want to say something, I will say it. Fuck letting other people tell you what to do. A lawyer will always tell you to say nothing. Who wants to live by that principle? And these messages are from March 28th, by the way, just about a day, 2 days before he lost his lawsuit. And I went ahead and found Karl Jobst in Discord and just looked for the context. It's him working on an unrelated video that he then later says that he is 99% sure he will get sued for, that the guy is a total con artist. And that's when the person questions running it by a lawyer. And then replies, that's usually true, but sometimes they will just tell you to deny any wrongdoing. And Karl says, I hate every single lawyer except the ones that represent me. Unless I lose, then I will hate them too. Lel. Feel your feelings replies, hello you absolute legends. Today I lost over $1 million when you account for lawyer fees. And Copperus replies, it'll be interesting to see how he covers this news on the channel. Must feel horrible to lose in court so publicly. And OP continues his post by saying, dude really did a GoFundMe, got 200k in donations under false pretenses, hired lawyers and said fuck him. So remember, if you gave him money, this is what it went to. And Sleepy Replicon replies, it's wild that the guy that Reddit blew up a donation scam was running his own donation scam at the same time. Wonder what Muda has to say about this.
Okay, let's not go too far. Karl wasn't running a scam, but he definitely should have been more honest about what the actual lawsuit itself was. I'm not willing to call it a scam just yet, unless like I see a message where it's like, oh, I can't tell people that like it's because of the Apollo thing. I have to lean into it being like about the cheating thing. Unless I see something like that, I'm not willing to state that like he was like straight up scamming people. That being said, though, I think a lot less people definitely would have donated, if they knew the full story.
Billy Mitchell himself then catches wind of these DMs and posts them on his Twitter page. And Shamu replies, Billy just keeps stacking those W's. Crazy. And Pop Revita replies, Karl is still claiming victory too. He's ready to double down. And attaches Discord messages of Karl saying, I don't think Billy wants to or could afford to go through this again anytime soon. And Chris Highwind replies, true, he might just decide to quit while he's ahead. And Karl says, he isn't ahead. Wobbs Dole replies to Billy Mitchell by saying, you still faked your records. Nicandros tweets out, this can't be a real screenshot, can it? To verify it is a real screenshot, Billy Mitchell went up against the Leviathans and won. In his DMs from March 3rd, just about a month ago, where Karl says, okay, so here's what is interesting. We fed all the court transcripts in AI. It said there's no scenario where I lose, lol.
Dude, what? What? Oh yeah, I ran everything through AI, and the AI said I would win. Come on, bro. Bro, come on. You're gonna tell me that AI told you that you would win? Oh my God, why are you so pathetic, man? Stop being pathetic. I like you, Karl. Stop doing this.
It even said if Billy wins, the damages will be nominal and he will have to pay my costs. Ali replies, the arrogance of this loser makes me want to punch my monitor. And Lord Yoshi says, did he use the Mama Max lawyers? Shout out to Kiko, our first internet representative, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Oh my God, dude. Okay. That was sad. That was super sad to see. Because again, Karl is like a really talented YouTuber, man. I can't believe he was so arrogant. And that's a lesson for today. Kids, don't be arrogant and just blab online with your legal situation, because then it bites you. Anyway, this is Nerdy John signing out. Take care.